Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Monday morning. I false started again. I did a 30-second video and had to press stop, and I don't think that's ever not happened because I get the self-critical fellow and it shuts me down. Anyway, I'm pushing past it this time, so let's get into the video. Oh, the things about life and me and function that I didn't realise were ADHD symptoms. So, 3 things. I'm going to try and keep it, in a small box. One of the things that I have partially gone through the process of testing for is auditory processing disorder. So never finished the process, just like many other things in my life, really. But over my adult years, I've always had massive problems being able to understand people talking or hear people talking in a busy, noisy environment. So this was a bit of a problem when I was working as a professional musician and playing in bands at like restaurants and like clubs and that sort of thing, because there's a lot of background noise, and people would try and communicate with me in ways other than hand gestures, because their hands were busy on an instrument. They would try and talk to me in between songs or while we were on stage, and I would have to ask them to repeat themselves multiple times, like sometimes 5 times. At some point, somebody said to me, "Kristen, I think there's something wrong. I think you need to go and get your hearing tested because this isn't normal." I just thought it was like normal. Everybody has to have everything repeated when there's background noise. Turns out no, and this person thought that it was important enough. So I went off and got my ears tested. I shouldn't wear headbands. There's just something more to fiddle with. Well, it's on now. Anyway, I'm going to have to deal with it. I went off and got my hearing tested. And you have to sit in a little booth, sound isolated, where there's no background. They do like boop, beep, boop, boop, and you have to press the button when you hear the sound. So I aced it. I had incredible hearing. My hearing was like way beyond the normal range of what people could hear. So that was really confusing, because it didn't match my experience of what was going on when I was at gigs or background. Yeah. So I spoke to the person. I said, "This doesn't make sense." And they said, "Okay, well, we need to look at because obviously the sound's getting in. The parts of stop playing with the headband. The parts of my ear that need to work to register the sound is making it in there. It's once it gets into my brain that there's a little bit of a and it doesn't get to the place it needs to go, or something or other like that. The processing is not happening properly." So I booked in for because you have to do a different set of testing for that. Booked in for that, missed the appointment, never managed to rebook it, blah, blah, blah. Knew it was an issue for me, had a theory that there were auditory processing issues, and I linked it to what I thought was bipolar because of my previous misdiagnosis of bipolar, because those 2 things can go hand in hand. Also, anxiety, which again I have had periods of significant anxiety. One involved me needing to be hospitalised for a couple of weeks, and I thought, okay, maybe it's related to my anxiety. Turns out that sensory overload causes the ADHD brain to just not be able to sort out the information. It's letting everything in, and then it can't sort out what's going on. So that explains that. It doesn't fix it, but it explains it. COVID has been really great for this, because I realised, since people have been wearing masks, that if I can't see someone's mouth, this is even significantly worse when I am outside of a noisy environment. Turns out that I actually need to see people's mouth to understand what they're saying. If I can't see their mouth, even if there isn't background noise, I can't understand what they're saying. It's like my brain just doesn't sort out the information. I wonder if it was any harder for you to understand what I was saying without being able to see my mouth. If it was, then write a comment. I'm interested in that, actually. So, all right, that's my deafness. My not my selective deafness, the one that happens when I'm like reading a book or anything, just another auditory related thing. So the second thing today I was going to say about in the talking way is that I'm crippled by menial choices, decisions, small decisions about unimportant things. I can't do it, and it's overwhelming, and I just sometimes just melt down into like a puddle on the floor because I am faced with having to choose what to eat off a menu, or having to choose which route to take if I haven't been given a clear direction from Google. It's like choices that don't really change the outcome of my life, that I won't even remember in a week's time or a month's time or 10 years' time. So difficult. However, choice, and they cause me a lot of anxiety. Like sometimes if I am already in a fairly high anxiety state and somebody asks me to choose between two things, which the choice is just up to me and it doesn't really mean anything in particular, that is enough to just set my brain kind of gets to its threshold and goes nope, and it goes into shut down. Like because I have a sort of a dissociative coping strategy that my brain does, and sometimes that's enough, just a single choice between two things that are unimportant, that's enough to put me into dissociation land. I hope that improves with medication. I really do, because that's a really hard part of life to hold sometimes. There was a thing that I was halfway through and then I didn't say it, and then I got caught in another idea and it's gone now. Bummer. No. Anyway, that happens with lunch boxes. I don't like packing lunch boxes. It's too overwhelming. All right. Well, obviously that other thing wasn't important enough. The last thing I was going to mention was clumsiness. Accident proneness, bashing myself on thingsness, bruises all over the place that I have no idea where they came from. All of those things, despite the fact that I am actually, I'm incredibly coordinated. If there's like a physical task, choices, wait, pause. Choices. The thing with ADHD is that you can have two opposing things happening at the same time. It's very confusing. So while I am crippled by choice for little things, when I get into a situation where there is a very important decision for me to make, or a crisis situation, in the space of 30 seconds, I can evaluate every possible option for decisions. I can play them forward for the next 10 years and see every outcome that each would lead to. I can then prioritize them and work out which one, based on my current values, the current resources I have available to me, is going to be the easiest to enact, the most efficient. I can strategize and work out what steps I need to do to get there, and I can completely write off the other things that I have chosen not to do. I can make choices like that. I can coordinate 100 million people and delegate all the correct tasks so that a very complex goal can be achieved in the space of 30 seconds. When it's an important choice, my brain just goes, bam, we're going to nail this. And then I can make a decision and be 100% sure that I've made the right decision, that I have taken into account all of the factors that I needed to take into account, and then I can be sure of it and stick to it. People find that difficult because they think that I haven't thought things through properly. But actually, I have thought them through probably more than most people would normally do. So that's like this opposing juxtaposition of decision-making capacity that I have. Blah. Okay, we're almost up to 10 minutes. It's another long video. I'm really sorry. Back to the clumsiness thing. There's not really much more to say to that other than despite being, here's two opposing things again, physically very capable. I'm very in touch, I can activate individual muscles. I know I can feel in my body when something's going on. I'm very body aware when I put my attention to my body, and I can achieve things that are outside of the normal range when I'm focused on manipulating, controlling my body and my muscles and all of that sort of stuff. When I'm not, when I'm doing other things like thinking, then I just walk into walls. So it means I'm often covered with bruises and I don't know where they've come from. Because I have a high pain threshold, it doesn't really impact my life that much. except that I look like a bit of a mess sometimes, and people make judgments. Sometimes when I have black eyes from, you know, various just silly things that I've done to myself, then people make judgments about that. There's a lot of judgments that go on in people's eyes when you have two black eyes, especially when you're walking with a man. And it's a difficult one. Pin that, because I'm going to talk at some other point about, anyway, clumsiness while being very physically capable when I'm focusing. I think I would put this in the same category, my incapacity to be able to swallow drinks without choking on them, if I'm not paying attention to the drinking. If I'm like busy doing something else, like thinking, the water just goes down the wrong way. Like the muscles just don't really do what they should do. However, if I am got this thinking about swallowing and being aware that I'm swallowing, never happens. So it's, if you see me walking about the place with black eyes or bruises all over me, don't fret. Don't be concerned. I haven't had a big accident, and I don't have somebody in my life who's being violent with me. I just have ADHD. All right. Sorry about the long video again. Hope some of these things help people make sense of things. Okay, bye.